Damien Peter Parer was an Australian war photographer. He became famous for his war photography of the Second World War and was killed by Japanese machine gun fire at Peleliu, Palau. He was cinematographer for Australia's first Oscar-winning film, Kokoda Front Line, an edition of the weekly newsreel, Cinesound Review, which was produced by Ken G.Hall. Early life. Damien Parer was born in Malvern in Melbourne, the eighth child of John Arthur Parer, a Spanish-born hotel manager on King Island, and his wife Teresa. In 1923, he and his brother Adrian were sent as boarders to St Stanislaus College in Bathurst and St Kevin's College, Melbourne. He joined the school's camera club and decided that he wanted to be a photographer rather than a priest. However, finding a job as a photographer in Depression-era Australia proved difficult, so he resumed his education at St Kevin's in East Melbourne. While at this school he won a prize in a photographic competition run by the Melbourne newspaper, The Argus, and used the money to buy Graflex camera use by professional photographers. Parer obtained an apprenticeship with Arthur Dickinson. He said later that he learned most about photography from Dickinson and Max Dupain. He finished his apprenticeship in 1933 and, sometime later, obtained work with the director Charles Chauvel on the film Heritage, where he met and became friends with another up-and-coming filmmaker of the time, He. At the conclusion of that film, and with the help of Chauvel, he obtained work in Sydney, and so moved there in 1935. Career. By World War II, Parer was experienced at photography and motion pictures, and was appointed as official movie photographer to the Australian Imperial Force. His first war footage was taken on HMAS Sydney after it had sunk the Italian cruiser Bartolomeo Colleone. Soon after, he was aboard HMS Ladybird while it was bombarding the seaport of Bardia in Libya. His first experience at close quarters was during a troop advance at Derna. Parer filmed in Greece and in Syria, covering the action from aircraft, the deck of a ship, and on the ground with the infantry. After Syria, he traveled to Tobruk in August 1941 before covering the fighting in the Western Desert. By mid-1942, Parer was in New Guinea ready to cover the fighting against the Japanese. Together with war correspondent Osmar White, he undertook an arduous journey by schooner, launching on foot from Port Moresby to Warviyo Island, Terapa and Kujiru, in order to document the efforts of the meagre forces then fighting on the northern coast of Papua New Guinea. During this phase of the war, he filmed some of his most famous sequences, some at Salamaua and, most notably, those used in Kokoda Front Line. This documentary won its producer, Ken G.Hall, an Academy Award for documentary filmmaking. Parer was killed on the 17th of September 1944 by Japanese gunfire while filming a United States Marine advance in Palau on the island of Peleliu. Personal. He married Elizabeth Marie Cotter on the 23rd of March 1944, and his son, producer Damien Parer, was born after his father had died. He was also the uncle of Australian politician Warwick Parer and filmmaker David Parer. In popular culture, Fragments of War. The Story of Damien Parer was a 1988 telemovie for Network 10 directed by John Dugan with Nicholas Eady as Parer. A second television film about Parer called Parer's War, starring Mathila Neves, premiered on the 27th of April 2014 on the ABC. Filmography. Damien Parer is credited for the following films: Men of Timor, Moresby Under the Blitz, Kokoda Front Line, The Road to Kokoda, Assault on Salamaua, The Bismarck Convoy Smash.